Hi, I'm Mark from the Well CPAP and Medical Supply. Today I'm going to be going over the Dreamstation to the Philips, new Philips platform. It's been out for a couple months, and so we'll go over kind of cleaning and replacing supplies, and then we'll go over humidification, changes in the humidification, and then changes in setting and some of the menus. If you squeeze right here, it's going to kind of lift up there and you pull it back. It does get a little smudged. I kind of shined it up before we started up here, but if you lift on the back piece, this will pop up. You've got three pieces to your humidifier. You've got a baffle, a lid, and then a reservoir. On the reservoir, if you fill it up to this max line, you'll want to fill that up each night. One thing that I found personally when I started using the Dreamstation 2, if you go over that, it blows water into the tubing, you get a gurgling and popping sound. So make sure to fill it up just to that max line. It does hold the same amount of water as the prior Dreamstation, 320 milliliters. Now, this will pop up, you're going to fill it up, and then hooks in here, and it's going to snap into place there. It will slide in here in the back. Flip that around here. You can kind of see there's some rails here. It slides into place there. Third piece is your tube. So if you squeeze right here, this is going to come out. This is different than the original Dreamstation. The original Dreamstation, the heated tube piece went on the top. I do like the sleeker look there. This goes on the bottom. You'll also notice that the tube is a lot smaller. They've got a 12 millimeter heated tube instead of a 15 millimeter. I like it. I've slept on it for the last little bit, and it's a nice addition to their machine. This piece right here, it's interesting. The 12 millimeter heated tube is designed to plug into the DreamWear only, so that's the Philips brand mask. If you want to use any other masks, you want to have this adapter on there, and it just wiggles in place. One thing that can be kind of tricky is you take your mask on and off, or if you ever switch masks with your provider, make sure that doesn't come off. Otherwise, you'll be kind of up a creek there. And those are your main components of your machine. I'm going to go over the functionality and some of the menus here on the Dreamstation 2. If you press the start button, it's going to light up green there. You'll notice you've got your pressure in the middle, and if you do touch that, you can change where your ramp starts. This is your smart ramp. Choose where you'd like it, and you can confirm on where that's going to go. If you touch your humidity settings off to the left-hand side there, if you keep touching that, you'll notice it changes on the setting on the screen there. This is your tube temperature. If you touch it, again, same thing, you can scroll through to where you'd like that. And those are comfort settings for you. So you get to choose what works best for you. When you do shut it off, it's going to pull up a quick snapshot of how that last session was. Now, if this goes for about 10 to 15 seconds, that screen will go dark. To wake it back up, just give it a good solid push. And then each of the menus on here, when you're touching them, make sure it's deliberate and a good solid push. The screen isn't super sensitive. But you'll notice you can go through each one of these, and if you touch it, I'm going to touch usage hours. It tells you how many hours you've used it. And then it gives you the option to scroll back. How many hours of 4 hours plus, and that has to do with Medicare compliance. The goal is to get 21 out of 30 days there, and then you've met your Medicare compliance. AHI, it tells you how many times you've stopped breathing or how many respiratory events you've had on your therapy. One thing I really like about this is you have the option to do a mask fit function. The advantage of the mask fit function is for people who are on a high range of auto sets. So for example, for this example, I'm going to use a 5 to 15 because I've got a lot of my sleep docs that like to start folks out on that. But if you're starting out on a pressure of 5 and you've got a pretty good case of sleep apnea, you're going to obstruct, and then as that pressure goes up, your mask's going to start to leak because obviously you have it set to a setting of 5. So you need to adjust that mask. This is a way to get get a full pressure blast before you fall asleep. So if you touch the mask fit and then hit start, it's going to give you a blast at your full pressure there so you can snug your mask down before you fall asleep. That way you can avoid any leaks after you've fallen asleep and that pressure has gone up. If I click on the back, it gets us back out. Settings will take you in, and you can change a few different settings in here. You've got your smart ramp settings. You noticed I could change the pressure before. If you touch here, this will, on the ramp, this will allow you to change the time and the pressure here. But you noticed when I did turn it on, you could change the pressure on where that ramp starts. You can also change your humidity and heated tube settings here. You touch it, touch the setting you want. Same thing on the heated tube, and it will get you back out to the main menu. The flex setting. So this is the standard C-Flex. I think they've gone to C-Flex Plus on this. It dips a little bit more. One thing I'd recommend is for folks that have a full face mask and you're on a low starting pressure like 5 or 6, sometimes the flaps in there, the reed valves will get caught because there's not enough pressure if you have your flex setting on. So if you get a lot of popping in your full face mask, make sure that flex setting is off and it will get rid of that popping typically. You'll notice off to the side here we've got 3 dots. If I scroll through, it's going to tell us where to go. We've got airplane mode, and I've got that turned off. What airplane mode does is it shuts the modem off. I wish they'd say modem on or off on there, but it's your airplane mode. It's like the airplane mode on your phone. Shuts any calls off. Bluetooth, it tells you if your wireless device is attached there and you're using it for your app, which in this case would be Dream Mapper. Time and language, so if I scroll through, it's also going to give you serial number software versions. That probably doesn't tell you a whole lot. But if you do want to see a retrospective report of how you've done on your therapy, you can go anywhere from your report range from a day clear to a year. And it tells you usage on the first. If you slide it up to the next page, it tells you how well your mask fit, average AHI, that's with your pressure, so it tells you how effective your pressure is, and then where your pressure is going. So if you're going back to auto set 5 to 15, between those 2 pressures, it's going to tell you what pressure gets rid of most of your respiratory events. And then of course, again, press the back button to get back out to your main screen. And you're back to your dormant mode there. Next, we'll go over cleaning. So as far as cleaning goes in each one of these components, if again, you're going to pop your humidifier off, this lifts up, and you've got the 3 components to it. As far as cleaning goes, manufacturer says to wash this out every day and let it air dry. For a lot of people, when I tell patients that, they kind of give me the side eye and go, ooh, daily. Generally what I do, because I'm busy, we've got a lot of things going on as a family, is I'll wash this out about once a week. Warm soapy water. If you're using distilled water in there, it'll stay pretty clean. Now you can run these 2 pieces through the dishwasher, but you've got kind of a soft metal or a soft rubber component to this piece, the baffle. So you can run those through the dishwasher, but don't do that when it'll melt that rubber there, and it just squeezes in place. So again, manufacturer says every day. I wash mine once a week. Just makes it a little easier, and it does stay pretty clean. But this pulls out. You've got your intake through the side there, and so your disposable filter is catching the big dust particles, and then underneath, sorry, I said disposable. Reusable filters catching the big dust particles. Underneath is your disposable, and it just pops out there. This will get pretty dark. You can see it. I live in a pretty dusty area, and I can get about 2.5 to 3 weeks on there. They're building a big store behind my home, and we've got a lot of building going on. So it really depends on how dusty the area you live in is. If you have a high traffic road next to you, it'll be a little bit more dusty. But every 2 weeks at least, I would rinse this washable filter out, and I check this. You don't need to change that out if it looks pretty pristine, but if it's starting to look gross, chuck it, put a new one in there. Tubing piece. Usually what I do is I'll squeeze here, pop that out. As far as cleaning goes, I like to make it quick and simple. Usually what I'll do is put a squeeze of dish soap, and we'll do a segment on just cleaning supplies in general in another video here, and I'll show you how to do it. But I found that this fits perfectly on one of my bathroom sink faucets. So what I'll do is I'll put a squeeze of Dawn down there, wiggle it onto the faucet, turn the faucet on and let the water pressure push the soap through it. As soon as the suds run clear and you see the Dawn soap gone, or whatever dish soap you use, that you'll know it's pretty clear there, and then just hang it on a towel rack to dry. A lot of times you won't get it completely dry, so if you do want to get any excess water out of it, pop it back on, make sure your mask is off, and just hit your start button on your machine. That air is going to blow any excess water out, and it dries it out pretty quickly. One thing, again, I like about the Dreamstation is you can let that go. Of course, make sure there's no water in your humidifier chamber, otherwise it'll blow water into the tube.